OBN, OBN, original black nerd. OBN, original black nerd. OBN, original black nerd. Everything discussed about dramas is that third. OBN, original black nerd. OBN, original black.
Hello, welcome to the Original Black Nerd Show, and today we're going to check out that next Batman, Second Son, written by John Ridley, pencils by Tony Akins and Travel Foreman, inks by Mark Morales, colors by Rick Glokes, and cover by Doug Braithwaite, and the variant covers by my man Ken Lashley and Juan Fernandez. And this is part one of the Second Son. This story is a prequel to the Jace Don't Call Me Tim Fox debut in Future State's The Next Batman. And if you want to know all about the Future State Batman, check out my playlist covering all the issues of that Future State Batman. And it'll be in the description below. Alright, so just for a quick background, we said, we got to run this down. As a result of the Joker War, Lucius Fox is now in control of Wayne Enterprises, the Wayne Fortune. His wife, Tanya, who's a lawyer, is trying to get the anti-mask law in effect because at the end of Joker War, the new mayor has been on a campaign on an anti-mask. All masks are bad, and now he has been approached by the magistrate to try to enforce what's come about in Future State. Lucius Fox, he's back to being Batwing, trying to do his thing because because of the actions of Joker War, Batman is without money, not being able to do what he normally do, and a lot of the Bat family are picking up the mantle, so to say. All right, and so this story takes place between the end of Joker War and Future State. So let's find out about the story behind the next Batman. So that's what this is going to be about, his story, but it's also going to be background to a lot of things that we saw in Future State, the next Batman, with regard to how Renee Montez became chief, how the new characters that were introduced in the next Batman, where their backstory is about. So it's a pretty good start off on this. Okay, so we're going to start off with this issue. We find out what Jace Fox has been doing before he came back to Gotham and became the next Batman. What's going on? We find out what's going on with Batwing. We find out, like I said, how Montoya became the commissioner, and we also find out what the whole backstory behind Lucius Fox and Jace's fallout, as well as how Luke doesn't like Jake and all the things that involve in that. So we're going to check out this part one right now. So we open up and we find we're in Vietnam, and Jace is reflecting back on. He talks about I'm old enough to remember when the 1% was a thing, that when having $1 million made you somebody. Now $1 million makes you Manhattan middle class, Tokyo blue collar. Unless you're creeping up on $1 billion, you're nobody. At least that's what billionaires want you to think. The people with the money are somebody, and everybody else is a nobody. But that's why I'm here. And you see him checking out what's going on, and he falls in to show them otherwise. So he's talking to his man Val, who is his tech guy, and he's overlooking some compound, and he's talking about a guy named Tyler Arcane, and he is I guess he's some kind of trafficker or something. So he's sneaking into his little compound, but when he gets in there, he finds out that you know, he throws a little distraction over. He gets into the building, and he's being directed by Val, you know, up the way he's supposed to be going. He gets into the computer, you know, cracks the computer, and it finds out that all of a sudden it's nothing on the hard drive. The hard drive's been wiped, and all of a sudden he finds out it's a setup. So of course he goes into his actions, and here we find that, you know, Jace, you know, he's got some survival skills. You know, he jumps off, goes down, and so he finds out that the guy set him up the whole time. And you know, Jace thinks he's into trafficking. He says, "I think you." He says, the guy Tyler Arkham goes, "What? You figured that I wasn't hip to your friend and you and your friend trying to hack me? You really think I'm that stupid?" And Jace comes back. He says, "I think you're a piece of, you know, who fronts as a philanthropist while you run a trafficking ring." And the guy comes back and goes, "Trafficking?" He said, "That's funny, Jace." You know, Jace is like, "What?" And my man says, "What's funny is you're going to die and you don't even know what you're dying for." Which of course leads us to say, hey, what's going on here? What Jace thinks he sees, he's not really seeing. So boom, Jace pulls out his stick, his telescopic rod, pops it, hits my man in the eye. My man gets mad, tells his guys to go ahead and beat him up, you know. And so Jace goes, and his brain goes, "Oh, forget the guns, get up in my grill." So then he goes to, you know, just laying waste on the guys, man. You know, Jace got some skills with him, man. He be knocking people down. So, you know, then he picks up the stick, cracks my one guy in the eye. He's very accurate with throwing that daggone baton. But at that point, you know, they say bump the hand to hand. They start trying to shoot him. You know, Jace is getting out of here, jumps on a off-road vehicle, full wheel, and just drives away. You know, as he gets away, he says, "Val," and man, he starts to beat himself up. So here we start to find in the beginning how much guilt and how much, you know, Jace has got mental issues as far as you know, some personal demons that he's dealing with. And Val goes back, you know, you made it, not too much trouble then. He said, Jace comes back, says, "Just enough, I messed up bad, same as always." And he said, your lapses in the self-pity, Val comes back and says, "Your lapses in the self-pity are as tiring now as when they were back we first met at the farm." Now, the farm, we got to find out where, so we see that that's where their history is from. And Jace comes back and says, "I blew it. We had a shot at Arcadine, and he knew we were coming." And of course, Val comes back, "We'll get another chance." And so then we go into, you know, he's going back. He says, you know, Jace is talking to Val, you know, "What did Alcon mean? I'm going to die for what I didn't know. I don't know what for." You know, asking us, and Val, of course, you know, asking yourself, you know, blah blah blah. And so they talk out, and he leaves out. But Jason in his head goes, you know, Val says, "I waste time on self-pity. I wish I felt pity for myself. Well, I wish I felt something for myself, something besides my jacked up shoulder. You're gonna die, and you don't even know what for." What was Archon trying to tell? Was Archon trying to tell me something? Or maybe it was just a good judge of characters. Because if it's one thing I know, it's a whole lot of. And when he walks into his spot, he's made it by Grifter and his girlfriend, Stephanie, I think her name is. And he, Grifter goes, "I'm tired, I'm hungover, and there's a quadrillion places I'd rather be. So let's not cause trouble. You know, Daddy wants you to come home, Timmy." So now we see that he goes off, and because Grifter is security for Lucius Fox and Fox Tech, now that Lucius is taking over. So Grifter is his security, and that's what he does. So now we're going to move into why is he going home? So when Jace comes and returns, we see in the airport, that the mayor is getting interviewed, and they ask him, he thinks his victory was slim. It's just no mask policies or mandate. And the mayor comes back with, we're still bearing out there from the Joker War, preventing another one. I'll call that a firm mandate. So this ties into what's going on in the Batman run that's going on now. This is prior to Future State. So this is right after the end of Joker War. So we see them sitting there, him talking about what the city's gonna be like. So we see Jace come in. His mother comes to him, and hits him with the Tim. And he gets straight up, Jace. I go by Jace now, Mom. And she says Jace. So, he's on this Jace thing. And so Tiff runs up to him, the little baby sister. And then Tan runs up to him and walks up to him. And they're talking about, here. And his mother comes back with, your father wanted to be here, but. And he hits him with, I know the richest man on the planet, but he can't buy time for me. She comes, Tim. He says Jace, and it's cool. So, and then of course he said, where's Luke? And he said, Luke said he has to do something about something. And Jace, of course, says something about something. So, of course, we get Jace thinking, Luke can't even come up with a good lie for why he won't come to see me. But Luke's not really lying, because we see that Luke is in there trying to this got an active shooter situation. Of course, he shows up. Batwing can go stealth, comes in on the active shooter, beats him down. But as he beats him down, we find that the police comes in from GCPD, and they don't like the fact that Batwing helped them out. Batwing was like, hold up, you might need your help, not need my help, but these people needed my help. I wasn't going to stand around watching get shot. The man crying about, you broke my hand. So you can see that this animosity and this no mask runs real deep with the police force now, especially as Jim Gordon is gone off to chase down the Joker. But that's another storyline altogether. Going back to what we're saying, so we find that Lucius is now hanging out with Grifter, who is his personal security guy. So, he says, ask him about how he find Jace. He said, I found your kid hanging out in some backwater burg in Vietnam. He said, don't know. The man was asking what he was doing. The man said, I don't know what he was doing, but it was an Ultra DL. He didn't get back to real late. And so then Grifter hits him with, can you tell me this? He refused to fly back on your jet. He said he only flies commercial and coach. Who the hell flies coach from Vietnam? And Lucius goes, clearly not you. And Grifter say, hey, the jet was already there. Why waste your money? And so Lucius now is, learns about the name thing. And he says, it's my son, it's Tim. And so Grifter hits him back. He calls himself Jace for whatever reason. And Lucius goes, we able to handle this deposition? Is he emotionally stable? So now we see why he needs to have Jace back in town and the Gotham for this deposition. Now, I'm just going to assume that this deposition has to tie into the car accident that we see all throughout the series in Future State. So Jace is constantly flashing back to a car accident that he had. So I'm sure this has something to do with that. And so Grifter hit him back like, does he have it together? I can't say that. That's your job to fix your child. And so, we feel that, we see that we've now flipped to, we find a little bit about the backstory about Montoya and how she ended up getting her job as the new commissioner. And the mayor's kicking to her, insanity like the Joker wore. Never again, Renee. We're shutting down masks for good. And so Renee's like, yeah, right, whatever. That's been tried. And the mayor says, ho, it ain't tried like I've been tried. He says, I'm going to put a law that says that all activities are illegal. Now we find that that's the law that the mother, Tanya Fox, is trying to make sure is not challenged in the courts all throughout future state. So, and when that becomes law, he says, I need the commissioner willing to enforce it. And so Renee like, yo, why me? And he talks about, you've been a cop, blah, 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 the typical stuff there. And she talks about, I was drunk and I got my partner killed. So, Renee keeping it true, Renee's had some issues if we, follow Renee, but Renee's also had a stellar career and she's a brilliant detective. So, Renee, he throws some shade on on Jim Gordon, said Gordon was a flunky for the Batman, and the Batman was just a freak magnet, which, we don't know whether that can be argued good or bad. Would the freaks already be there if it wasn't a Batman? And Renee tries to protect Gordon, but, it's okay. So she has to think about it. He goes back, and then we see that, Jace is back home. We talk about, oh man, you got a nice spot here. I'm glad. I think you should have bought. Why you ain't buy Wayne Manor? And throwing shade. He throws shade on the father's money all the time. So, and I'm wondering why that is. But so then she goes, I need you to try to. His mother goes, I need you to try, please, to work out things with your father. Things have been very hard for him. And Jace, being smug, goes back, tough being super rich, And and his mother has to check him, like, mama's got to do every now and then. She says, your father, during that Joker war with during the war with the Joker, he was assaulted, brutalized. And that ain't no lie. Punchline put work in on him. And and she goes back, all the money in the world can't make that trauma go away. And so then in comes Luke, and his mother come say hi to your brother. Jace opens up talking about, hey Luke, it's been a minute. And Luke just walked by his face, cold, like, ooh, Luke, that's some real shady stuff right there, baby. But anyway, he just walks right by him. Jace was like, okay, whatever, I ain't got to deal with him. He rolls out, talks to his sister Tam. Now, out here, they share, their brother-sister moments, and basically, he tries to talk about, he didn't want to come back, a lot of self-pity like his friend Val talks about, but he really, puts in the face of his sister talking about, I missed you, and he talks about, being here when we were millionaires wasn't much good, so they've always had money. Everybody around there. Then we found out in our show Nightwing that Alfred had $1 billion or so dollars, and so everybody around Bruce Wayne had some cash, and he talked about there's nothing here for me, and she was like, what? Nothing. So and then he goes, no, that's not what I meant. She hits him back straight up, is what you said. And she hits him back with, you were a lot of things back in the day, Tim. Arrogant, hard-headed, spoiled. Above all, you were my brother, no matter what. I thought that would never change. But I guess nothing lasts forever, does it, Jace? And she strolled off from him. So we see that the family's having, Jace got a lot of issues going on with his family, and we see that they tie in different ways, but they all stem back from something that happened a long time ago. So then we kick back to a little backstory on what happened on A-Day. Now A-Day is when this big Arkham Asylum attack happened. some people think it was the Joker. Bane died. Different things happened during that activity. And it's tied into, this series, Batman, all the series to tie into what happened at Arkham. All right, so we get back, hear a news report talking about dozens of dead, and the mayor's going to talk about the shock of life, and you see these people there, console themselves, but then you see this guy running, and then you see the announcement goes, believed to have been planned and executed by the Joker. Fear and escalation in a dormant war between Batman and Joker. Interpol has issued wireless emergency alert for the Joker. So this is, this has been a time after the end of the Joker War that nothing has been really kicking off. So now this was the calm before the storm. So my man is running, but he runs straight into a invisible wall, which turns out to be cloaked Batwing. And Batwing said, been looking for you, Winfred. Where's the Joker? And so, he tries to go make a move on him, tries to cut him, but Batwing, of course, just smacks him down real easy. And he talks about, man, you better tell me where the Joker is. And he said, man, I don't know where the Joker is. And he talked about Joker. I ain't seen the Joker since his Bat War with Batman. I ain't know anything about this hit. And he said, how the Joker thinks. Why would he go after Arkham? Batwing trying to get answers, but the man says, why not? Joker threw everything at Batman and still got it kicked. But if bigger ain't better, why not go back to just being nothing but kill happy? And so my man talk about, if you locked up, man, you got evidence, lock me up. You need to watch your own back, because if there's another war, that fancy suit ain't going to do nothing for you. Not a dang thing. And he's talking about, the suits are now illegal. So then we got Lucius now, and we're going to find a little bit about why Jace is here. So Lucius is watching the news report of the attack at Arkham Asylum, and my man's talking about Lucas, your son is here. So now we see the interchange between him and Jace, and he comes to the Tim. He says, it's not Tim, he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that one. I know it takes time to get used to these things. Jace comes back, it's not a thing, it's my name. And of course they're going back and forth, the typical father son, we don't get along thing. And he's trying to talk about, you have a deposition schedule, and my man says, I know. And so Lucius talk about, I need to get together with the lawyers. And Jace goes, nah, not this time. No lawyers, no private investigators, no leaks to the media. So all this must have happened back before, Future State, before he came, because lawyers, private investigators, leaks to the media. Oh my. So Tim, he says, I don't think he says, it's not Tim, that's back and forth on this. And so Lucius goes, you know how important this is. He said, how important it is to hang on to your buildings. And so Lucius comes back, he says that we protect this family. You weren't here when we were given control of Wayne Fortune. You didn't have to read all the vile crap online. Who are these people? How do they get the money? How come they get a handout? And he's talking about, that's what you worry about? People saying on social, saying about you. That Lucy come back talking about, the city's recovering from a war. Maybe another one. Just started. With the A-Day activities. Fox Tech is needed. And that cannot be taken away because you made a mistake when you were 17. So now we see a mistake. Say what I did. Say it. So now we find out. We should just look at him. He says, I won't be meeting with any lawyers at the deposition. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And what I'm going to say will be the truth. And then he just walks out on his father. So then we flip over to, Renee Montoya. And she comes up to him asking about, the mayor talking about, well, it didn't take long for the Joker to get back to slaughtering, and he's talking about, I'm not sure, I don't know if it's the Joker. He says, I sure hope you came out here to tell me you consider my offer. So Renee's all in, and saying but her people are not going to be assassins. And the mayor kicks back and says, I got other plans. And what's that? That we know what that is. That's the magistrate. Of course, all through Future State. So we know what that is. So as long as you understand, I'll enforce the law, but I won't bend it and I won't break it. So of course she becomes the next commissioner, and then we kick back in to Luke coming in to talk to his little baby sister, which is Tiffany, and she goes, where you been? He says, well, what are you doing in my room? He says, I'm going to tell you that this is some wrong stuff that you're not acknowledging your brother. Luke talking about, man, come on, get off my bed. I'm busy. My man kicks him back. He says, what's more important than the family? He's looking for the Joker. So, bro, it's Gotham. There's like 50 bad people who can do that. He says, Luke come back. He says the other like 49 weren't available. He says, so he go back and forth with his sister and talk about, you rather hunt down a sociopath than deal with his family. And so, she's trying to help him to be cool, and she brings her brother in. So now, of course, Luke comes in, and Luke, Jace tries to be friendly, says, hey, Luke. And Luke, being a little big, go, well, hello, Jace. It's Jace, right? Don't want to offend you by accidentally using your real name. Your mama called you Clay. I'm going to call you Clay. That was crazy. So anyway, call you Cassius, my bad. So the Tam jumps up to about, Luke, come on, that's not necessary. And of course, clearly, it is. He gets set off every time you call him Tim. So isn't that right, Timmy? So of course, Luke now is egging him on because you change your name, you change your path. Doesn't change anything. Sure hell doesn't change anything you put this family through. Man, the little sister go, man, I said be cool. And of course, the Jace come back talking about, you don't get to preach. You never done anything except live off of dad's money. Lucas. And so they go back forth. He goes, you don't know what I do. You don't know how I live. And so the sister's getting all upset. She's talking about, stop it, please. Talking about, don't fight. The mother's jumping in the middle of it. Luke hitting Jace with, you don't know anything about us because you ran off and left off with your crap. And then the sister passes out. And so now we see all the stress that caused Tamara to pass out. Everybody runs to her. She's barely breathing. Luke, goes around, talking about hold on. Everybody talking about be strong with Tam, and that's how this issue ends. So we see that the Fox family has a lot of stress going on in their family, but they also have a lot of secrets going on, and we see that there's something behind this story. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I know this was a little long. The next one will be shorter, but I'm a Tim Jace, don't call me Tim Fox fan. And I hope to see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.